Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today we're gonna write a US election web scraper from 2020. We're gonna save it as JSON files, both for Biden and Trump, and then afterwards gonna display it. And here you can see the US election result. That is how it's gonna be displayed. And when you hover, it's gonna display the percentage for Biden and Trump. So let's get started. So we're gonna use politico.com, and basically the way we're gonna go around it, we're gonna go through all the states, Texas, and get the results. Here you can see Donald Trump, Joe Biden, both votes and percentages. And we're gonna use Selenium. Be sure to actually create your virtual environment. I'm using Linux, that's why I have to do it here, but yeah, it's just a good practice to do. So basically so now it's activated, and we're gonna start off by getting the packages that's gonna be used. So driver, make sure it's actually your web driver, the most recent one. For me currently it doesn't work completely, but yeah. So in here you have the website where we're gonna get the data from. So let's get continued. So wait. Actually, I can make it a little bit faster. So let me just explain you shortly. Here basically we wait for the WebDriver and element to clickable, and like put the time sleep, and that basically means because we have to loop through all of these, right? And make it for this find your state is clickable. That's like what the XPath is meant for. That's a common practice to actually select by XPath rather than class or CSS selector. So here are states list. All the list here. Here we selected by ID. File and elements by tag name. So basically when we check the inspect element, and check here, press on it. And I open this one once more. Now it's unordered list. You can see, and when I press here, you can see everything set as a list, right? Here you can see. And that's basically, oops, what this one is meant for, to get all the elements as a list and append it in the list set as text. And when it's get appended, we have to should make comprehension list. You can obviously do differently, but there are multiple other things that are involved that should replace it, like a possible dotted line with empty spaces or a comma separator or a empty space with this one. Uh, yeah, and get it from every link set. So later on, we get the state URLs because every time we loop through them, mhm, and we actually press on New Hampshire, for example, and yeah, basically the results, we add the link right? And here we like separate the concerns, Trump result and Biden result. We create a function scrape result table. This one is the ID of the table here, the table, this one. And oops, based on we get like the find element by first table, this one. Here is like Joe Biden as a major favorite. Another one is Donald Trump. Here you can see list value. We get the TD, like the values overall. Row first name. So we get like the name is either Joe Biden or Donald Trump. And here it was a little bit tricky because every state, not every, but like a few states have different winners. Here you see like the first one comes Donald Trump. And New York, Joe Biden, right? So actually like here we had to get from the row first name. Here is Joe Biden. And if it like matches Joe Biden, we have to separate our concerns. Biden results will be assigned in the first row value and Trump results as second one. That the Trump results function, we get the values, get the state name, the title, that like the votes and list one as text. Mhm. And percentage, here you can see. So list first is the votes, and percentage is like the second, and it's like the percentage. And because of that, I just decided to print it out to be sure everything is being done correctly, and then create a dictionary, state results, will be the state key will be assigned as state value and with state votes. So we have to actually every time save the state name because we're gonna save it in a dictionary and then later on as a JSON format. And then later on, Trump result list was created prior here, an array. We'll append the results from the small dictionary that we create. And same applies with Biden. Because we have to, the reason for zipping it to get all the values simultaneously. Because it's gonna loop through all of these. And the for loop is just to run all of them asynchronously. Here you can see. We set up once again the Chrome driver because here at the beginning it started actually entering the website, and here in the bottom it decided to loop through all of these ones. Mhm. And here you can obviously see state drives, state driver, get the URL, and in the scrape results, here you can see here is being called. We assign the state driver, and after it's being ran, where is you're gonna have a JSON file like this. So we're gonna use Jupyter Notebook as discussed. I'm actually using the VS Code extension. You can find it here as just as Jupyter. We create a kernel, right? Otherwise, you can as well uh, open with localhost. For me, in the Linux is with Jupyter Notebook command. I'm canceling it. Yeah, it's Jupyter Notebook. When you enter it, then it should start a new kernel. Okay, I think it was restarted. Now I can import. Import pandas as PT, and let's see if it will work. Looks all good so far. It is always recommended to use Jupyter Notebook because oh yeah, it works. Because you can go line by line and it's easier to debug and test code. Otherwise, so now we're gonna run it. And as you can see, it's generated two CSV files here and here, all the votes and percentage. And as we can check in the JSON file, it's made as a dictionary. And we have to continue with that. So forth, so good. And now I have to edit the files, change the existing CSV files because the way that they are now, it has a comma separator. Some of these have a white space, a line, and we have to change them. So that could be used later on for data visualization. So let's continue. Trump. So the things will be partially a little bit repetitive, so a lot of these will be able to copy. Mm. We can see, can open it, and we can just continue this one. It's the same cell. Trump, Trump update. So I have to make an empty one, then a join clause. Mm, Trump update. So we have to replace the existing votes as Trump votes because in both of these they're just as votes, but we have to separate our concerns so we will be able to display it. Because in these files you can see just generic, right? So they're not specified by the candidate. And we replace as well. We replace the dashed line to white space, exactly. And replace as well the percentage because it had the percentage. Can check just here. Yeah, we have a percentage here in that of every state data. It's same here, and we don't need it obviously. Otherwise, it's gonna give us like an error. Replace this one with an empty space. So we have to now update it again. It's quite redundant, it's an old code. So it could have been improved, but can I actually just run this one to see if it works? So it works. And as you can see, binary result CSV, these are the newest ones. Binary result CSV. And you can see it doesn't have the percentage. Can actually compare it quite shortly. Binary result CSV against Biden C. This is Biden, the old one, and this is the newest one. You can see that you don't have the percentage, and for example, New York, see? It doesn't have the line, and we had to get rid of it. Okay, we continue. Trump update, PD read. So we're gonna just check it here, how it looks. Just the first part. And you can see first 5. So I actually have to admit on one thing, I cheated a little bit with the state because state code names were essential. And where did they save it? Aha, here. So from the website, was able to get all the states, right? But the state codes are really essential. Just to showcase it here. You can say first 5. Okay, so we continue with that. So we have to adjust it again to drop a row like axis 1. Drop named 0 to axis 1. So it's quite a typical procedure because you can see here Trump has a named 0 and so does Biden, and we don't need it, so we're just gonna drop it. And same applies to Biden's data. It's quite easy once you get used to it. State and same as before, axis 1, Trump, and let's see if it did what we asked it to. So there'll be an issue. So after I ran this one, it worked. Mm-mm-mm. It seems it doesn't let me drop twice. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this one, remove, run. Mm-hmm. Now we can see it's green, and we actually as well have to take off the state. So let's actually add an additional here and paste it. Mm, Copy these though. Mhm. And we actually have to remove the state on both of these because the state codes already has a state. So we don't have to require it again. So it can be a lot shorter. Let's see if it's gonna work. Aha. Aha, but you see, like the funny thing that once again the unnamed is there. Gonna run it again here. Mhm. Let's just change it a little bit. Okay, so it's gonna adjust it. So I'm gonna copy this one, add here, copy this one, add here, and some from CSV, change these ones back to CSV. Let's check it like that. I think it should work. Now we can see because we're gonna use the same one, this variable, and put it here, and now we're gonna use just from CSV and button CSV. Okay, so we're gonna just, I tried it here, but before you can see it was reiterating on state. We don't need duplication. And we can see it's really clean. Actually, let's try to continue like that. Save it as elections 2020 CSV. Well, shouldn't be able to. It was results. So results to CSV, and we can see the US election. And now we create our figure, fig, px, roll path, results, location. You didn't have to copy it to CSV, but that's just what I did. Locations, state code. Location mode. So it's gonna be so it was just like a typo here, and afterwards when we run it, we get this kind of graph. It's not like the prettiest one, but that's what it has to do. So basically here Alaska, state code Alaska, Trump votes, percentage 53, Biden, right? Here like Wyoming, Trump has 70%, while Biden 26. Here is more in the middle, partially um, Trump won, but you get what I mean. And it's not the best visualization, but it did what it had to do. So yeah, that's it. Hope you like the video. Otherwise, if you have any additional questions or you're still puzzled, you can check this Medium blog. I will attach it in the link below. It has quite a thorough explanation.